from Kevin Siggy. What a lap time it was from Kaiki Oliveira. We didn't even know who was going to be in this competition until this morning.
Absolutely stunning stuff. And they'll head out now for a quick practice before we get into racing action. But Kevin Siggy bringing his best to the forefront. Started sim racing at age 12, but he has really grown into it, hasn't he, over the years. Has actually won numerous championships in the single-seater realm. But since coming across and joining Team Redline in 2020, his favourite track, incidentally, happens to be Spa. So he has done it at his favourite circuit. Great opportunity to take this one home and will obviously favour the clean air.
I remember Kevin Siggy back in the day when he was, still fresh-faced in sim racing, 2013.
Not quite the same moustache, though.
No, definitely not. I remember being in. I've told this story a lot. I did a Porsche championship in a series called Touring Pro Series, which some people might know. Stoffel Van Dorn is a champion in it. Don't worry about it. I took part in that. I was in Division 2. Do you know who else was in Division 2? Kevin Siggy was. That's how bad he used to be. So it means if I'd have kept up with sim racing, I'd have got pole position here today. That's what I'm going with anyway, right? No?
Lewis McGlade, a champion.
Champion of ESL R1. Sort of.
Well, you were faster than me in touring cars, so I'll give you that.
Yeah, around here by how many seconds was it?
I can't remember.
It was
all
12.
a blur.
It was 12 seconds, by the way.
Incredible. We won't let him get away with it, folks, I promise you. But yes, absolutely outstanding. Great start, obviously, for Redline, though. Would you say that there's it's a bit of a bittersweet one, Lewis, off the back of maybe expecting a little bit more from your Luke Bennett as such? And
well, maybe. The thing is, I'd say is that the first race, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter because it's still points. These are still the same 25 points that you're going to get. But it's still, if you have a bad race now, it's okay. It's not too bad.
Yeah, we will be bringing you the overview of the qualifying results as well, folks. Kevin Siggy, as you can see, your fastest man, a 2:13.707. It looked like it was matching during our qualification phase, but Kaiki Oliveira actually setting a 2:13.711. But a great lap there for the BS Plus competition BMW team. Kevin Ellis Jr., Dara McCormack, Sebastian Jobe, Max Benneker, Johan Harth, Thomas Tatler, Luke Bennett, Yuri Tobin, Marcel Chinchik down in 10th and 11th, with Josh Rogers generally spoken of as the favourites in this competition, actually down in 12th place right at the very back. Not an ideal start, but credit to Kevin Siggy, credit to Kaiki Oliveira, and an incredible effort for ART as well. Some huge shockers once again, Lewis. Bennett, Toman, Chinchik, Rogers, the bottom four.
Certainly so. Well, we'll head back down into the stage area to see exactly what's going down. Obviously, you can see the view here in the race session. You can see they're just on the warm-up lap here, George. It's time for you to get very noisy and potentially deafen me.
Yeah, brace yourself, everybody. We're about to get set and ready to go, as now what looked to be a safety car now peeling into the pit lane, as now the cars get set to race here at Spa-Francorchamps, the ESL R1 Esports World Cup. They'll put pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 go. Great start there for Kevin Siggy. Kevin Ellis Jr., though, is going to have a look up the inside, run the outside. Kaiki Oliveira, Dara McCormack, also in the thick of all this too, but a great start for Siggy. He's leading clear, he's out in front, just needs to hold on to it. Kevin Ellis Jr. did well to keep Oliveira and McCormack at bay.
Look at this though, side by side in the background, that's between Thomas Tatler and Max Benneker. Tatler had to back out of it though, so Benneker's still in 6th position. Sebastian Jobe was taking a little bit of a look at the rear end of Dara McCormack, and you can see he's going for the move now as we head onto the Camel Straight. They head through the Camel Curve now up towards Lake Com. It's Siggy from Ellis Jr. from Oliveira, but it's that side by side for 4th.
Yeah. At the very back, Johan Harth suffering, Yuri Toman suffering because Josh Rogers has now gained 2 places. We've now got Siggy now at the, well, in the midst of an attack, should I say, Sebastian Jobe in the midst of an attack with Dara McCormack, who's currently sat in 5th. Max Benneker now also looking for a way through, but Siggy still out in front, just under 5/10 of a second between the front two. A little bit of contact between Benneker and McCormack.
Yeah, Benneker just a little bit too hard there down into Rivage, a little bit deep in the corner. You can find that second apex though, and it's not too bad. They head through No Name and drop it down the hill towards Puon, and Dara McCormack in 5th position. Needs to basically get some wins onto the board if you're going to go and start competing for this championship. Kevin Siggy in 1st place. I remember someone on the commentary team, not going to name names, but they said, Kevin Siggy won't win this. He's not consistent enough. Well, he's winning at the moment, and he is taking top points if he can bring it home in 6 laps time.
Yeah, what I will say is that member of the broadcast team will eventually be on show at some point, folks. Kevin Siggy, a former winner, of course, around this track, but also more recently has taken part in various rounds. Still not yet a round winner this season, but finished third back at Road Atlanta for round 2 in the Drivers' Championship, but has taken a victory here at Spa. It was semi-final 1 when we took part in that. Well, it wasn't semi-final 1 necessarily, but it was a semi-final place number 1 when we went to Spa in round 3 of the championship leading up through to the Esports World Cup. As we're now taking a look at Kevin Siggy, or not Kevin Siggy even, Kevin Ellis Jr., wrong Kevin, who's currently sat in second. As we now take a look. Sorry, Lewis. I
think there might have been contact in the background between Bennett and Tattler going out of the exit of the bus stop. I did see the Team Falcons car running out quite wide there. There's a look over the shoulder of Kaiki Oliveira, though, for BS Competition, who, again, just to remind you, this morning, we weren't sure if he was going to be racing in this. He had to come through the last chance qualifier. He looks like a different man today.
I did say, watch out for Kaiki Oliveira prior to coming into the show, and I must say he's giving us a great show right now, creeping over the hill out of Eau Rouge and Radion, and he's tracking Kevin Ellis Jr. like a man possessed. Mercedes will meet BMW up the hill. The question is, will Kaiki Oliveira open the door through Les Combes and try and launch a challenge? He's decided against it, but we did see a battle for the back. Oh, Benneker! Benneker and McCormack! Benneker's spun it, McCormack is round, and Thomas Tattler, I'm sure, is going to hoover all of that up. Drama. McCormack back on, but Benneker's gone. Benneker's gone.
McCormack's got to slow down. He's got to give basically all of this back up. They were 3 wide behind all this. So Sebastian Job, I think, was in the middle. Dara McCormack was on one side, or maybe Dara McCormack was in the middle. Sebastian Job was on one side. And then, obviously, sneaking his way through was Max Benneker. The problem is, we'd need to see a replay of that one, but I don't know who pinched who. I'm pretty sure Benneker was the one that made it 3 wide, and whoever was the furthest left of shot, obviously furthest right of the circuit, was the one that moved over. Race control 100% take a look at that. Somehow, McCormack's come through all that and is still holding on to 5th. There's Sebastian Job, who we're riding on board with now in 4th position. What drama we're getting here in the opening race of the Esports World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, the gap was spread out, wasn't it, as the incident took place, but Dara McCormack can take some respite knowing that he hasn't lost too many places. Luke Bennett still in behind and tracking him. Sebastian Job, however, is in front of him. So it's a red line sandwich as far as Dara McCormack is concerned. And he's got Kaiki Oliveira then further up. The top 3 have still remained virtually the same. Siggy, Ellis Jr., Oliveira, Job trying to get closer, but has got a lot of work to do because it's 1.4 as McCormack now once again gives chase. And look at this, Tattler in behind.
Did you say red line sandwich?
Yeah.
You like white bread sandwiches then? Fair enough, that's fine. Sandwiches are named after the ingredients. It's a McCormack sandwich with red line bread. Get it through your head, Morgan, my goodness me. Whatever, it's a fantastic battle. That's the important bit. There's a look over the shoulder of Derek McCormack, the feisty Irishman. My pick for the victory of this. It's a tall shot, it's fine. But he is right on the rear end of Sebastian Job. Best he can really do in this race is 4th position and has to fend off Sebastian Job's teammate on his hunt for that. Thomas Tattler closing his way back in as well as the slipstream takes them up through Eau Rouge and Radion. Here's the replay.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. Benneker, unfortunately, a sitting duck in that one. Obviously, had run onto the grass, and McCormack makes contact. Side by side coming through Les Combes.
Did he, though, drive onto the grass to make that 3 wide? If he drove onto the grass to make that 3 wide, I'm sorry, it's his fault.
Well, tricky business. McCormack, incidentally, has lost a place. 2 red line cars now sit in front. Job in 4th, Bennett in 5th. McCormack, who's one of his proudest moments, actually representing Munster Rugby Club in sim racing in Ireland, no less, partnering it up with Williams Esports, and has since gone on to take part with Williams and has done for such a long time, generally touted as one of the greats here in this series as they now make their way down through Pouon. Siggy still in charge, Oliveira tracking Kevin Ellis Jr. These 3 have careered away, 2.5 seconds now between Job and Oliveira, but Redline, I think, will have some sort of respite knowing that 3 of their drivers currently sit in that top 5.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're scoring well. Kevin Siggy, of course, was was second on the points coming into this. So him taking the victory, Josh Rogers being back in 9th is huge for the Drivers' Championship. It's huge for him, looking at the gloves there of Kevin Ellis Jr. As he sat on the rear end. He's closed his way back up to the rear end of Kevin Siggy. It's Kev versus Kev at the front of the field as we're passing the halfway point of the race. 4 laps left to go during this one. I will say Kevin Siggy looks pretty calm as he's about to get a little bit of a bump draft potentially. I have been told the slipstream's been slightly increased this season. We saw that a little bit in the online championship, and we're certainly seeing it here as Kevin Ellis Jr. is starting to knock at the door potentially for the opening race victory here at the Esports World Cup.
Yeah, still got some way to go. We will have breached and surpassed the halfway mark as we now cross the line once more. A trip down through towards turn 1 lies in wait. Siggy still in charge. Oliveira has snatched the fastest lap away from Kevin Ellis Jr. in that last lap as well. So it's still all up for question. One thing that's not in question, though, is the form that Kevin Ellis Jr. has witnessed since beginning his ESL R1 journey. We remember back to Katowice at the very start when it all first began as they creep over Eau Rouge and Radion once again. Kevin Siggy still up at the top. Kevin Ellis Jr. though might have given up the ghost, maybe have, or maybe has turned around and said, listen, it's time for me to take a turn. Is he going to wait in tow? I think he will, you know, but Kevin Ellis Jr., no stranger to winning races. We look back, even this season alone, looking back at the team's championship, where of course he was a victor back at Daytona in the quarterfinals. He would then go on to win again at Road Atlanta in the semi-final phase at Road Atlanta during the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, indeed. Of course, victories in this camp. You've got Kaiki Oliveira, who obviously has the single victory. You've got Kevin Ellis Jr., who's got 6. You've got Kevin Siggy, who's got 15. He's won 16% of the races that he's done in ESL R1. So it makes sense that he's going to take a victory at some point today. What a way to do it, to open it up at a circuit which he likes, he's favoured for. It's the only time we're going to see the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps today. And at the moment, Siggy's in position, but the fastest lap has come through from Kaiki Oliveira, who sat at the rear. This is back to 6th position, though. Dara McCormack staring at the rear end of the red line duo that sees Sebastian Job, Luke Bennett, but he's also got Marcel Chinchik behind him. He's got Thomas Tatler behind him. He's got the points leader, Joshua Rogers, behind him as well.
Yeah. Definitely does that. Joshua Rogers obviously has had to work hard from the bottom to the top, but at this stage he's only 9th place and needs to find a little more as we take a look at Dara McCormack riding on board with the Williams eSports driver all the way from Ireland, now starting to close back up to the back of Luke Bennett, who took his place away not too long ago, and now back watching Kevin Ellis Jr. this time trying to close up to Kevin Siggy. But Dara McCormack, obviously someone who's familiar. We have got some action happening for the back in the bus stop as well. Looked like McCormack went very deep down the inside. Bennett is in fact going to take it back briefly. Looked like Dara had his number, but not this time.
No, certainly not. Like I say, a couple of switches, but still you can see Dara McCormack's now having to fend off Marcel Chinchik, who might be to the inside of him, working down to the final corner. Still looking forwards from Kaiki Oliveira as the race for the battle, the race for victory, rather, the battle for the victory is separated by just 0.6 of a second. 3 laps left to go here in the opening race of the Esports World Cup. Couple of slides coming in there from Kevin Ellis Jr. I think we're going to see a little bit of patience here from Kevin Ellis Jr., but I wonder if Kaiki Oliveira might try and force the issue here. He's not the most cutthroat of drivers. Speaking of cutthroat drivers, though, back to Josh Rogers, getting past Dara McCormack for 7th.
Yeah, you must have heard me say that 9th wasn't enough, because he's ascended to 7th. If he can get past McCormack at least anyway, heading through Lake Con, wheel to wheel, there will go. Ooh. Rogers squeezing him, as does McCormack in return. They'll head through Malmedy. We look at the rear now of Marcel Chinchik as he sees a Porsche and a Mercedes clambering through out of Malmedy down the hill through Brussels now as we dip dive now. Still wheel to wheel, they'll stay. The Mercedes trying to fend him off. The Porsche has no answer. McCormack defends well and withstands the pressure. 7th place now for McCormack. It stays as it was.
So Marcel Chinchik obviously did get through going down into turn 1. That's how he's got up into 6th position. Dara McCormack then down to 7th. Josh Rogers in 8th position. Thomas Tatler, who's actually dropped back quite a lot in all this, down to 9th. But either way, Dara McCormack then holding on to 7th spot. A little bit of the squeeze from Josh Rogers coming down into Rivage, so no major dramas there. That's why there was a little bit of contact and it pushed them out wide. Great defence coming in from McCormack. Does seem as though that Mercedes is struggling potentially with tyres towards the end of this race. We ride on board with McCormack. Is the front end struggling? That's the big question.
Yeah, that is the big question. Obviously, they need to try and manage the tyres. It is still a factor here in Rennsport, no less here in ESL R1, and it's a long lap around Spa as well. Very tricky, plenty of differing corners, many of them that can certainly fray the rubber. As now once again we rejoin the top end, and Kevin Ellis Jr. leading the way now ahead of Kevin Siggy, with Kaiki Oliveira down in 3rd place. Oliveira still holding on to that fastest lap, but this race is far from over. Penultimate lap now about to begin. No less Siggy, I'm sure, is going to look to try and regain the place that he lost to Kevin Ellis Jr. not too long ago. Ellis Jr. now snatching that fastest lap off Kaiki Oliveira.
Do you know who is closing in, though, a little bit? Just bit by bit, I am seeing the gap between Sebastian Job and Kaiki Oliveira come down slightly. It's within a second. I'm pretty sure the slipstream, I think it's pretty extreme, under 7/10, but around like 1 to 1.2 seconds. I'm pretty sure that's where you start getting the first little bit here on Ren Sport. So Kevin Ellis Jr. then up to the lead of the race. Kevin Siggy behind, Kaiki Oliveira behind, as you've alluded to. Sebastian Job's not necessarily out of this fight. Remember, he is quite good when it comes to taking race victories. He has the second highest percentage of race victories in ESL R1.
Yeah, definitely does that. And someone who is committed to the cause here in this championship for Apex Racing is Kevin Ellis Jr. Kevin Siggy, though, looking to come back at him, has got such a strong legacy, a huge fan base. Hails from Slovenia, as well as got Kaiki Oliveira. He hails from Brazil. Has been outstanding, Oliveira, since joining the championship. Was one of the stars at Furia last year and has now since moved across to BS Plus competition. And BS Plus competition will know all about Apex Racing Team, both having phenomenal histories in sim racing themselves, and now here to roost in ESL R1 once more. Into Sector 2 they will go. Kevin Ellis Jr. still leads the way, starting to break a little clearer now away from Kevin Siggy in behind. It's now 0.4 of a second between them, certainly not enough to should we say, evict Kevin Siggy out of the lead fight. I get the feeling it's all going to happen on this final lap as we now look to bring an end to lap 6. We're heading into Sector 3 proper. Sebastian Job still working hard. And I think you're absolutely right, Lewis, as we just see Oliveira just scraping up some of that gravel. That gap is coming down slightly, ever so slightly, between Sebastian Job and the top 3.
It's not coming down enough, though. Still around 1.3 seconds. Obviously, it'll actually grow around here because Kaiki Oliveira is getting the slipstream from Kevin Siggy, but in the corners, it'll kind of it should shrink a little bit. And Sebastian Job will be able to close back in. I just don't think it's going to be enough for him to get a challenge, at least not at a decent point. I know you got that moving to the bus stop, but certainly not enough for him to challenge for victory. On to the final lap as Kevin Ellis Jr. runs a little bit wide here. Kevin Siggy is 110% going to go for a move into Lake Com. We head into La Source and prepare that 2-kilometre run. Right now, look at that line. Out wide, brings it in deep, builds himself up a nice half-second margin. He is going to be closing down that bit by bit, George. There is definitely going to be a move here.
I would think so. Final lap to come, and it's Kevin Ellis Jr. who holds all the cards. But for how much longer? Because Kevin Siggy is going to be looking for a royal flush. If you now take a look at a replay, that's the moment. Oh, Thomas Tatler, unfortunately, going off through Lake Com. Dara McCormack was involved in this. We now take a look at them going wheel to wheel, heading through the Lake Com fade, just getting Thomas Tatler onto the curb. Very forceful drive in between the two. Obviously, the stewards will be up to decide that one. But what we want to see is the lead fight. We want to take a look at the lead pictures because Kevin Siggy has taken the lead away. And now Kevin Ellis Jr. is trying to give chase. Oliveira looking for his chance. He's going to go around the outside, coming through Brussels corner. Contact between them as they fight over second. But all of this allowing Siggy to get away and hold on and consolidate that lead advantage, Lewis.
Yeah, the Ellis Jr. is going to be close enough to try something potentially down into the final corner. It's certainly not done yet. There is a big slipstream, and obviously it's a long run coming out of Stavilo down into the bus stop chicane. Just 0.3 between the top two. Sebastian Job now makes it 4 drivers separated by less than a second when it comes to the battle for the opening race victory in the Esports World Cup. 2 of those representing Redline, 1 representing BS Competition, and of course the Apex Racing Team driver there for Kevin Ellis Jr. directly behind. It is going to be a tough battle. I don't know who's going to take the victory in this one. Of course, Siggy's in the favoured spot right now. It's Kev versus Kev. I think Oliveira is a little bit out of it unless there's contact between the top 2.
Well, Kevin Siggy, it has to be said, did it where it counted on the run up through towards Lake Com. Naturally, it is something that he is oh so akin to. Started sim racing at the age of 12. His favourite track is Spa, but he's about to be challenged now by one Kevin Ellis Jr. The 2 Kevins go side by side through the final 2 corners here. Will the Mercedes batter back against the BMW? It's going to be a drag race to the line. Wheel to wheel they go, but Kevin Siggy will win. An sensational start for the Team Redline team, and now it puts them in the W column. At least as far as this man's concerned. Siggy, your first winner in ESL R1 here in the Esports World Cup.
Yeah, there's the driver. He finished in second spot, of course. Kevin Ellis Jr. did it. Look, he gave it a good go. That's all you can ask for. And I will say, backed out at the right point. Kaiki Oliveira, probably one of the happier drivers that you'll come across in all of this. Finishing in 3rd. Absolutely fantastic, George.
Yeah, well, folks, after all that excitement, we can head to a quick break. We'll be right back.